What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. So with the recent news of Emboar being the Community Day exclusive Pokemon for the month of July on July 3rd, a lot of people are super curious about the top Fire-type Pokemon. That's actually pretty cool. Anyways, so a lot of people are super excited about the top Fire-type Pokemon and want to learn a little bit more about it. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today in the top Pokemon by type series. And today's episode is going to be all about those Fire-type Pokemon. We'll be talking about the best budget, the best legendary, the best shadow, the best megas, and then of course talking about PvP as well. But anyways, if you do enjoy the top Pokemon by type series, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So we're going to start this video off by talking about the top budget options. What I mean by budget is that these Pokemon are non-legendary Pokemon. You don't require an exclusive move to be good. They're typically easy to obtain in the wild, and for the most part, they tend to be 2 evolution lines. They don't have to be necessarily though. But by the way, of course, if you go ahead and get yourself a weather boosted one, level 30, level 35, then that's going to be where you gain the most value out of your budget options. So speaking of budget options, I think Flareon is a super solid option, along with many of the other evolutions as well. So just kind of continuing that trend. But anyways, if we talk about the best stats, its attack stat is what makes it so prevalent as a fire type attacker with an attack stat of 246. Such a solid budget option, and you want to go with Fire Spin as well as Overheat, especially if you're trying to build yourself a fire team or newer. Maybe you've missed out on the more exotic options like legendaries or Community Day exclusive Pokemon, then Flareon is going to be a great budget option. Additionally, you've got the Pokemon Arcanine, so I think Arcanine is also pretty solid. As far as its stats are concerned, it's actually up a little bit higher than Flareon, ranked out at 16th, but its attack stat is dropped a little bit down to 227, and its best stat is going to be the stamina, so it is going to be able to stay in the fight as far as stamina is concerned, but its defense ends up being a little bit on the lower side at 166. So unfortunately, Arcanine acts like a glass cannon, so I figured that's a good reason to put it in as the second budget option, prioritizing Flareon. But anyways, let's go to move on to the top non-legendary options. We can get a little bit more exotic with this, so we're talking about the Pokemon Chandelure and taking a look at the fire typing down here at the bottom. So as far as Chandelure is concerned, you want to go ahead and pair up this Pokemon with Fire Spin and Overheat, and then taking a look at the stats, it's the attack stat that is so dominant for this Pokemon with an attack stat of 271. This Pokemon is looking solid from that regard. And then when you go ahead and take a look at the defense and stamina, pretty much on the lower end, regardless of the rank. If you take a look at the individual stats here, neither one of them are breaking the 200, so you've got this Pokemon Chandelure acting so much like a glass cannon, so it's going to faint quite a bit, but it gets out so much damage, so a lot of people do opt to use it despite the fact that it does faint a lot. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next non-legendary option. We've got Darmanitan. So Darmanitan's actually going to fall into a very similar situation as Chandelure for the fact that it is going to act like a glass cannon because of that defense stat being just horribly low. You're talking about out of 67. That includes pre-evolutions too. But anyways, if we go ahead and take a look at the good things about this, we have a super high stamina stat and a pretty good attack stat at 263. So Darmanitan is a solid option as far as non-legendaries are concerned. We've got that move Fire Fang, and then of course we've got the move Overheat. So when you use Darmanitan, it is going to be a solid non-legendary option, but I don't think it's quite as good as Chandelure, which is why I put it in at the second position. So anyways, we can go ahead and move on to the top legendaries. Of course, getting a little bit more exotic, a little bit more expensive, we've got the Pokemon Reshiram. Of course, taking a look at the top fire types, we can see that Reshiram is the first Pokemon on this list that's breaking into the top 10 as far as the overall stats are concerned. And it looks incredible as far as the stats are looking. So we can see that we've got an attack stat of 275. That's great. We have a defense stat that is above 200. That's fantastic. And then finally, we have a stamina stat that is also above 200. So Reshiram is getting the seal of approval, thinking that's going to be a great option from the fire typing. And then of course you want to pair it up with Fire Fang as well as Overheat. So kudos to Reshiram, and maybe you can guess what the next top legendary is going to be. We've got Moltres, an absolutely classic Pokemon, And of course, taking a look at it from the fire typing, we can see that it gets an overall ranking of 9th in Pokemon Go compared to those other fire type Pokemon. And then of course, taking a look at the stats, we've got a pretty good attack stat, a decent stamina stat that is above 200. Defense stat a little bit low, so it acts a little bit more glassy, but its stamina stat is able to kind of keep it in there, so it ends up kind of counterbalancing out. So I think we can go ahead and give that a check mark. But of course, you want to pair it up with Fire Spin and Overheat. Now, Moltres is a very interesting Pokemon though, because it's such a good Pokemon from two different typings. You really have to make that decision as to do you want to use it from the fire typing or do you want to use it from the flying type? Because as fire typing is concerned, it does drop a little bit in performance and there are other alternative options, but it remains king as far as those flying types are concerned. It's actually one of the best flying type attackers. So I wanted to go ahead and mention that. You are of course going to end up having to make that decision for yourself, and that's going to be resource dependent. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the top shadow Pokemon. We have a very familiar Pokemon that we did of course just cover, so nothing changes on the stats. But yes, you do end up getting a bonus bump to that attack stat and then a little bit of a drop on the defense. Because the defense stat is a little bit on the lower end, that is going to hurt Moltres just a little bit. But basically what happens is this Pokemon's going to perform very well as far as its damage output is concerned. It's simply just going to faint more. So it is what it is. So Moltres definitely looking good there. And we're actually going to be seeing a new legendary option coming out in this. We've got Entei. So Entei, good to see you here. We don't see Entei too much, but the shadow bonus ends up playing into Entei's favor for sure, because we get a boost in that attack stat of 20%, and that's well needed because that attack stat is a little bit on the low end. Defense stat, oh man, yeah, it's already low, drops even more, so a little bit unfortunate, but we have a super high stamina stat to kind of counterbalance that some. So all in all, you've got this Shadow Entei getting a major upgrade to it, making it a viable option, which is a ton of fun. But anyways, we've got Fire Fang as well as Overheat that you want to pair up with the moveset. So anyways, we can go ahead and move on to the final category of this. We've got the top mega options, and the top mega Pokemon that you want to use is going to be Mega Charizard Y. And then as far as those fire types are concerned, it's a top 5, or it's in the 5th position compared to those other fire type Pokemon. Has a super high attack stat, super high defense stat, and a pretty okay stamina stat there. So yeah, not going to give a seal of approval on that. But with Mega Charizard Y, you do want to go ahead and pair it up with the Community Day exclusive move Blast Burn if you can. And then of course you want to use Fire Spin on the quick move. So definitely glad that we've got Mega Charizard Y in here as a Mega Pokemon. So as far as the second option is concerned, I could have put in Mega Charizard X, but I actually decided not to, because if you've got Mega Charizard Y being the better performer of the two, and you can't have two Mega Pokemon in at one time, I figured it doesn't make sense to say to use Mega Charizard X from the fire typing, of course. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at what I decided to put in at that second position. We've got Mega Houndoom. So Mega Houndoom here, of course, taking a look at those fire type Pokemon, overall ranking of 11th as far as the stats are concerned, compared to those other fire types, has a very good attack stat at 289, a decent defense stat, and then the stamina stat is a little bit low, unfortunately, but hey, you're in there just to try to get that bonus. I wish we had just a tank for those fire types to really keep that bonus in for a long time. But who knows, maybe you go in there and just dodge a little bit with this Pokemon. But as far as the moveset is concerned, you want to go ahead and pair it up with Fire Fang as well as Flamethrower. So Mega Houndoom, I think, is a solid option from the fire typing as a Mega Pokemon. So hopefully you do agree with that. So let's go ahead and summarize this a little bit. With a raid going up against a Genesect, you can go ahead and kind of get an overall view of this. So basically what I do is I'll give you like the top 2 options for the Shadow Pokemon, for example. That way you know what Shadow Pokemon to go ahead and prioritize. And then of course with the Mega Pokemon as well, Mega Charizard, it makes more sense in the Y form versus the X. And then of course you'll end up with Mega Houndoom a little bit later back. So that's kind of how the logic works with this, and I think Genesect ends up showcasing this very well. You go ahead and scroll down, you see Arcanine in at that 28th position. And then of course we got those Community Day Pokemon that could be mentioned in here as well. So as far as the top Pokemon by fire type, we can go ahead and showcase this. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want to take something away with you. We can go ahead and take a look here. I figured Community Day Pokemon are going to be some of the best non-legendary attackers. I don't think we can classify them as budget options for the fact that they do require an exclusive move in that, but they are solid performers. They are, however, behind Chandelure and Darmanitan. Otherwise, I would have showcased them individually. And then finally, as far as the top PvP Pokemon are concerned, we've got Alolan Marowak into the Great League. Technically, Talonflame is in there too. Talonflame is a little bit above it, and it will not require XL candies, but I want to give a shout out to Alolan Marowak because it's a Pokemon that's also very solid. And then in the Ultra League, we do have Talonflame where it ends up being ranked in at that 5th position. So it will require you to get an XL though, which is so unfortunate. I wish XL was a little bit easier to get. And then finally, we've got Ho-Oh in at the Masters League. So of course, this is going to be the summary. We are, however, going to jump over to PvPoke to talk a little bit more in depth about PvP. So we'll start this off with the Great League. As far as the Great League is concerned, Talonflame, like I said before, does technically rank higher than another Pokemon like Alolan Marowak, but I thought it would make a lot of sense to go ahead and showcase Alolan Marowak in the Great League. They're both going to be solid options, so we can go ahead and take a look at this right quick. We've got the move Incinerate, Brave Bird, and then Flame Charge, so you will need an elite charge or an elite fast team to get you that move Incinerate. And then if we go ahead and scroll down, we can see that you're going to want to get a 0, 13, 15 on the IV, so just a low attack stat as you possibly can, and then high as possible for the stamina, and then finally for the defense. And then if we go ahead and scroll over to Marowak, we can go ahead and check out that moveset of Fire Spin, Shadow Bone, and then Bone Club. You are going to need an elite charge team for that move Shadow Bone. And then finally, if we go ahead and scroll down for the IVs, we can see that you are going to have or try to get a 0, 14, 14. So once again, very similar for Talonflame. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the Ultra League. So in the Ultra League, this is where Talonflame really shines, but it does require XL Candy. So if you don't have XL Candy, then it may take a little bit of time to get here, but it's totally going to be worth it. Once again, requiring the exact same moves and an elite fast TM for Incinerate. And then as far as the IVs are concerned, in the Ultra League, you are going to want to get it up to level 50 with perfect IVs if you possibly can, meaning that it is short of 2,500 and you're trying to get it as close as you possibly can up to that. And then of course, we got some other Pokemon that could be highlighted here, such as Charizard. Charizard gets brought up quite a bit in the Ultra League. Very solid option, considered more of a budget as far as the cost, especially compared to a Talonflame, which requires XL candies. But it is going to require 2 TMs or elite TMs, one for the fast move to get Dragon Breath, and then one for the charge move to get Blast Burn. I do actually have one though, but I haven't unfortunately had much luck with it. And then finally, in the Master League Classic, we've got Ho-Oh here, which ends up making it into the 7th position, and you're going to want to have the move Incinerate, Brave Bird, and then finally Earthquake, which will require an elite charge TM. And then of course, when you are in the Classic League, you're gonna get the Pokemon to level 40, otherwise it doesn't qualify. And then you're going to want to get perfect IV so that you can get the top performance out of this Pokemon. But anyways, that's going to be the top fire type Pokemon currently in Pokemon Go. I hope you do enjoy it, and I definitely want to ask a question of the day. What is your favorite fire type Pokemon currently in Pokemon Go? Let me know in the comment section below. It'll be so interesting to see what ends up coming out in the future. For example, we've got Volcarona that's going to be making it into Pokemon Go at some point in time. I don't know exactly when, but I'm very excited about that Pokemon, and of course I'll cover a deep dive on it once that Pokemon gets released. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy that episode. So let's go ahead and close in on the outro. Thank you so much to the supporters over at Patreon. We actually have a new Discord server where we're talking Pokemon Go, we're coordinating for raids, and so much more. So if you want to support the channel and connect with other Pokemon Go players, make sure to check out that link in the description, and I will see you next time.